So in this video we're going to go through some easy exercises to free up the lungs and regulate the breathing, because this is particularly useful to do during the autumn time, according to Chinese medicine. As you can see, autumn hasn't really hit Portugal yet. It's quite hot still, but it's at least not 40 degrees anymore, so it's getting towards autumn. And if you want to know more about autumn guidelines, then check out my other video on YouTube where I talk more about which principles that are good to follow to best live in sync with the energy during autumn time. We're going to start with open up the ribs and the lungs a little bit. So just bring the arms up and just move a few times side to side. Get a little bit of movement into the body. Breathe nice and deep into the sides. Then the next one, hold it still. Release the pelvis down. Feel the round stretch into the ribs and take a nice deep breath in. On the out breath, release the tissues, the intercostal spaces, but keep the ribs nice and open so we can create more space. One more deep breath. And the other side, release the pelvis down, feel the round stretch into the ribs. Breathe nice and deep. Let it stretch and release on the out breath. One more. Into the center. And just move the center around a little bit, so stretch around the front, side, the back of the torso, just freeing it all up a little bit. And then pull the arms straight back. And down into the center. And sometimes if you get stressed, the cheek tends to rise up and the breath gets stuck high in the body and the shoulders doesn't come with it. So we're just going to shake them out a little bit to make sure that we can descend the breath down and that the lung chi's natural descending of chi can sink down. So just shake the body. Shake the shoulders. Shake the diaphragm with that sigh noise. Want to feel like the body becomes more jelly-like, loosening up habitually stored tensions. And then shake the shoulders a little bit more forwards. Release. And we're going to stretch along the scapula and the back of the body, and then down. Back and down. When we drop down, we drop with the body, so it pulls through that shoulder. Around, drop, around, drop. Both arms at the same time if you can. Just let it tease open. Shoulders and the back of your lungs. Let the breathing become deeper. And then let's open the chest. Spread the arms. We quite often become too far pulled forwards, and that constricts the front part of the lungs. Just want to make sure there's space here for the upper part of the shoulders to open and the lungs to free up. And release down. And we're going to free up the lower back a little bit, because if there's tension there, it's very likely that your breath won't be able to descend down towards the kidneys. So just hang forwards. Just release the whole back and the head, the neck. Just Just make small movements. Just with each breath, let the body go deeper and deeper down into the stretch. Move side to side a few times. And down into the center and then roll up. Lengthen through the spine, the lower and the middle, all the way up to the neck. Feel that lengthening through each vertebra. And just small movements down with the pelvis, up with the head, just teasing open that spine. And then just stand neutrally with the arms by the sides of the body, relax the shoulders. Just sink down a little bit into this bikini line area, just to make sure we're not standing too upright and the shoulders coming up, and we just want to make sure we're not leaning back over the spine. There's going to be a little bit of space here for it to open up. And then just close the eyes. And just bring the awareness to your breath. Just by giving our attention to the body and the breath, it can start to begin to regulate. So we don't want to force it or anything at the minute. And then just give your breath a little nudge to just become a little deeper. So when you breathe in, let that diaphragm descend down, just like we're stretching the lungs a couple of times, just letting it know it can become fuller. This is very beneficial now in the autumn time to make that breathing nice and full. If you've done breathing practice before or practiced a bit of Neigong with us, you probably feel a little bit of movement as the breath descends in towards your lower back and the abdomen and the base of the body. But if you're just starting out, then that might be tricky to feel. So just stay with listening to the breath and let it become deeper for a couple more breaths. And then on the next one, nudge the breath to expand out towards the sides of the ribs and the sides of the body. Just slowly breathe in, let it fill in towards those spaces. And as you breathe out, just release the air out. And for the next one, let that expansion move in towards the arms a little bit. So as we breathe in, see if that sort of moves towards your arms. Then we're going to help it a little bit with the arms towards the end, and we're going to bring them up towards this position. So now it just helps create more space around the sides of the body and the torso for the lungs. And then we just release down. Breathe in, let it fill in towards the sides and towards the arms. Then just release down. Breathe in, let it fill. And then let the elbows move first. So the fingertips kind of stays there. When the elbows moves, then that will pull a little bit through the tissues of the shoulders again. So let that release the shoulders down without forcing it. Breathe in. And let the elbows move down. Let it pull nicely through the shoulders. And when the elbows moves down, we do it by releasing, not by moving with the muscles. Release until it starts to pull down. So on the way up, really work on expanding it out, spreading, and release to move down. So you get a combination of both, creating more space and releasing, creating more space and releasing. And with each one, that will just tease your breath and your torso open more and more. As we go down, see if you can really connect with the elbows and the shoulders releasing. Then it feels like the tissues begin to melt from the shoulder towards the scapula, towards the back of the body. And that helps to unbind the tissues where we have stored habitual tensions from mental tensions, emotions, or even injuries. They get stuck in those layers. And when we release and create more space and movement, then that becomes freer and the body becomes more supple and more fluid-like. As you breathe in nice and slow. And then as we breathe out, let those tissues melt. Breathe in, create more space. Breathe out and melt those tissues. If your breathing becomes slower by itself, then let the movement become slower as well. But we don't want to force it. We don't want to make the breath feel strained by slowing it down mentally, just if it happens by itself. And just close the eyes. Just let that process unfold deeper with each repetition. A few more. Then next time you come to the top, feel the lungs. And then when you exhale, really just let go of the breath. Just release it, don't push it out, then that will make the chi flow smoother through the body. And that smoothness will help regulate the chi and also release the tissues further. So breathe in and just release the air out. It can have a very calming effect because of the close link with the breath and the emotions. Calming and settling. And next time you come to the top, then as we go down, just invoke the feeling of letting go. Let go mentally. Just let your insides go. So you breathe in to the top and just let go. Don't need to worry about anything else right now. Just being here with the breath. And last one. Let it fill into the ribs, fill in towards the arms. And let go. Melt the tensions, but keep your body upright under its slump. Just let it all release. Slowly breathe out. When you come to the bottom, just pause there with the arms by the sides. Keep the eyes closed. And just let your body breathe. Now with this increased openness, hopefully we may need a bit more practice, but you may already feel some benefit. Just let that sink deeper into your body. Just giving the body and the breath time to change and regulate. And of course, if you want to continue doing a few more repetitions or stand here for a bit longer, if it feels useful, you can do that. Otherwise, we're going to just sit down for a short while, so either cross-legged or in a chair, whichever's most comfortable. Right. When you find a comfortable position, Just close the eyes. Again, bring the awareness to your breath. And just let the body breathe now, as you will probably be a little bit freer after doing those small movement exercises. And just let that good breathing anchor deeper in the body. Now while we're sat and gravity is lower, it can be easier for it to settle even more, and also have a deeper settling effect on the mind. It will probably do one or two things. Either it will create more space and freedom in your breath, or it may start to feel more tight as you're becoming aware of how your breathing is and how your body is feeling. Quite often we have a lot of tightness around the diaphragm, so don't worry if it starts to feel like working with the breathing is becoming tighter. It's just that you're becoming aware of where it's not really quite working as smoothly as it could do. So then you would really benefit from doing more breathing practice and doing some exercise to help free up that diaphragm as well. And then let's do the same. Let's just nudge that breath a little bit to go deeper a few times. As we breathe in, let that diaphragm move down if it's possible. And as we breathe out, just release the air out, don't push it. Just let it naturally go, and let that have the releasing effect, freeing, smoothing effect on the chi and the emotions. Slowly breathe in, let it fill. Slowly breathe out. And a few more times in your own time, that smooth breathing. And let it fill out towards the sides of your ribs now while we're sat. Just a few times, nudge the lungs. And then just go back to letting your body breathe naturally. Just giving the breath and the body a little bit more time and space to settle this deeper breathing into your body. If it made tensions show up in your breathing, and if it's in the diaphragm, you can finish your session with doing some more of those sighs and shaking of the shoulders and the diaphragm forwards like we did in the beginning. That will help release it further, and just mixing, releasing and stretching open the tissues around your chest combined with breathing practice. Then over time it will start to change, it will become deeper and deeper. Okay, hope you have a nice settling autumn.